And when we were looking at the maps a little bit closer last night, the loop that we wanted to make, when we looked at the slope angle shading, really the only way that we'd be able to get up into the drainage that we wanted to be able to hunt was to actually take a big V-line, big switchback that would take us through some private land, which obviously we can't do. So we're going to try and figure out another way to get in, maybe from the backside in a future day. But for today, what we're going to do is we're just sitting right now. We're at a higher elevation where we parked, waiting to see if one of us has movement come up towards bedding. And then at maybe like 9:30, we'll regroup back at the truck and just do a big loop through some bedding cover and just try and locate and call our way back down. It is the night of day 4. Matt and I climbed up into this drainage that we think might be at least somewhat overlooked. And we have decent visibility out below us. And there's a lot of places these elk could come from in terms of above us or to the side. So the thought is, if an elk comes out below us, we'll be able to see it. If they come out way below us, at least we'll know there's elk here. But if they come out, within a decent range, Matt will be able to shoot, I'll be able to film. If they come up from behind us or from the side, then we got enough pine trees that if we do cold calling sequence or something like that, they'll have to come through those trees to be able to see where we're at. So I could potentially get a shot with the bow. Well, that screw up is totally on me. He came in quick enough and just on this opening. When he came right up on that bench, I assumed, to the best of my judgment, he was maybe like 45 yards. Looked like he filled up the bee about right and shot, and that arrow just dropped right underneath him. So he was obviously a lot further than I thought he was. After I took my rangefinder out and ranged where he was standing, it was probably closer to 60. Just really underestimated with the elevation and just how big those animals must really be in comparison to a deer. Made me underestimate how far he was. Definitely sucks, but I mean, at least I can say that I had my opportunity. It was on me, so can't blame anybody else for that screw up. Over the counter public land in Colorado, be able to get a shot at a bull like that after calling them in, that's still a pretty big achievement, and something that we haven't really done a whole lot of the last few trips we've been out here. So excitement level definitely about here. We'll work this drainage again tomorrow in more detail, and then probably the next drainage over. But hopefully we get another opportunity. If not, I mean, if you get one or two opportunities on a trip like this, you're doing pretty good, I feel like. So, hindsight, what would I have done? Would have taken out a rangefinder, just taking the extra couple seconds to get a range on him.
Well, dude, I mean, with this bugle, I feel like I was echoing along the whole valley, which is kind of the cool part. Maybe a tight setup down there, where we're in the thick stuff. We'll bugle down this range. They're gonna have to come right in this.
Yeah, you won't know they're coming until they're right there.
Yeah. I mean, you at least knew he was coming and you can prepare it.
Yeah. I found my arrow. It had basically skipped after I missed and then went under the elk. If I look up, you can see Matt starting to come down the hill. So you can see our setup right up by that pine is where I was sitting. And the elk, he was up on top of this little bench here. So I mean, from where we were to where that bull was standing in front of me a little ways, it was fairly flat, so it wasn't necessarily the easiest, but in hindsight, I definitely should have taken that rangefinder out. I had pre-arranged a couple things, but he was just out there in the open ground, and I hadn't ranged that, obviously, so live and learn. So we're up here about 10,800 on the super steep ridge, and we heard a bull chuckle down below us, maybe a couple 100 feet, and over, kind of on the other side of this drainage. So we're trying to figure out exactly where he is to the best of our knowledge, because we're guessing he's probably bedded with some cows. So we want to try and be able to sneak as close as we can to him before making our next move.
Should we just cow call and go that way?
Might as well. I don't know exactly where he's at, but I just turn in that direction.
Unless we want to go after that one. Maybe let's go at him with cow calls. And then if he bugles back, we'll keep on going. And if he doesn't close distance, then we can start slow playing him, and then we can challenge him.
Yeah. Let's get up level with him. You know it. How far do you think we are from where you last heard him?
Seems like he's over
On that bench, maybe. At any point, do we give him a challenge bugle?
I think we gotta get a little bit closer. I don't think we're in the 150-yard range quite yet.
We came up through a little opening, kind of a marshy, like a stream origin, and he bugled and chuckled again. It sounded like up above it. So we circled around, tried to get on the same level, and we've just been working our butts off trying to get this bull to respond, give us some other indicator of where he is. And he just won't make a peep. The wind is a little swirly, so it's possible that he caught our wind. Hoping that's not the case, but we've probably been up here for about an hour already. Matt even started throwing in a little raking, just seeing if we can get some kind of response from him. We worked our way through that whole area and never, to our knowledge, jumped the elk. Never heard another peep. Couldn't really get a bead on exactly where that bull was at. We know we were close, but we just slowly made our way through that whole area that we kind of thought he could be in. At this point, it's time to start going down the hill and picking our spot for the evening sit. We gotta hurry up because this took a lot of our afternoon. Give me a countdown when you're gonna start to pull.
Got him. I swear I saw him drop.
Was it all those?
Yeah. I didn't see the other two jump. I swear I saw him go.
I was like, give me a countdown when you're gonna shoot. Boom! Your ears plugged? I barely got my right ear plugged right when you shot.
Sorry. I don't know. I got anxious. We'll see. I swear I saw him topple over, but.
Yes, it looked like I saw that doe there. Hopefully, we got meat on the ground. What's that down by that tree? I said, what's that down by that tree? Is it just like a root? Right at the base of the tree.
Oh, there it is. I'm looking over there and I'm seeing rocks. Oh, I pounded her. I think she dropped right there. Sighted it in, huh?
Nice shot.
I swear I saw her just drop right here. Pretty big doe.
I just made some quick work of Matt's deer. We are still a little bit of daylight left and about to pack the meat out of here. I offered to carry some meat for Matt, but he wants the experience, be able to carry out the deer himself, so that's what we'll do. I gotta be honest, this is by far the most physically demanding hunt I think I've been on in my entire life. So I don't know what Matt's gonna feel like after we get back to the car. It's about 1.5 miles, mostly downhill luckily, but tomorrow we'll both be sore, I think.
I'm gonna follow you.
Oh, got some water on my socks.
Ooh. Dang, I need to do this. Oh. So that weight, relative to an elk, it's maybe 2 hindquarters? Or no?
Maybe 1 hindquarter.
Or 1 hindquarter and 1 front?
No, just like 1 hindquarter.
You think?
Yeah. That's probably about 60 pounds, I'm guessing you got with meat in your pack,
Yeah.
would be my assumption.
Yeah, and my pack probably weighs 30 pounds, so.
About a 90 pound-ish load out. Pretty solid job though, I mean that was rough. I fell more times than you did.
That friggin' boulder at the beginning. Actually, my legs felt pretty good, my back, pretty wiped.
We just got up a little closer up on a good vantage point where our sound can carry clear across this drainage. Did a couple location bugles, nothing that we heard back. Been sitting here for about 10 minutes just to make sure. So what our plan now is basically just to move down this ridge a little bit till we get a little saddle. It's not too far away from a bunch of, bedding looking benches. in this drainage, and we'll do kind of a cold calling sequence there. And if we don't hear or see anything after a given amount of time, then it'll basically be time for us to start heading back down this mountain and then get into a spot where we want to do our evening calling sequence to try and pull over some of those elk that are pulling themselves out of the bedding and down into those lower elevations to feed. We're not in the very deepest part of the saddle, we're kind of up on one side, and so it's really thick in front of us. What that means is if any of these elk come filtering through, they're going to have to come up the saddle and basically come within like 30 yards in order to be able to see us. So if they can see us, they'll be in range. Once again, another so close moment. We were probably only calling for maybe 10 minutes, but I mean 10 minutes straight, like a lot of cow calling. I was doing a lot of raking, stomping stuff, breaking sticks. So we're making a lot of racket. And we could hear just all of a sudden, just boom, 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 boom. There's, clearly a big animal coming up right through the edge of this drop off. So we quick got ready. I turned my camera on and we could see tines moving just beneath this deadfall, and it looked like a bigger bull than the one we saw a couple days ago. It looked like a pretty respectable sized bull, and I don't know what happened. I was sitting there ready to draw back, and I kind of lost sight of him, and that was it. Like, he just kind of vanished. Matt eventually kept cow calling, kind of backed his way the other direction to kind of act like he was leaving. I definitely don't think the bull saw us. Maybe one of you elk experts that's watching this video can chime in and tell us if there's something wrong with our setup, what we could have done differently. I mean, when I look back at how we were set up, I mean, we were sitting tucked into the shade on the front side of the cover. I don't think he saw us. And all of this cover around us, it makes it seem like the bull would have to get to about 30 yards to be able to basically see if there's any cows actually here or not, to be able to see what the commotion was. And I think in his case, he may have been able, he's probably 40 yards away, he may have been able to peek through some little spots in the timber, but it's still thick enough up here that I don't think that would have given him a clue as to whether or not he could actually see if there was actually bull and cows up here, or if he was, like, he would have had to come further. I would think he would have had to come beyond this deadfall and get into this barrier. Why didn't he come to the left side of the deadfall instead of the right side, where he would have been probably 30-35 yards and given me a shot? I don't know, it's tough to say. The only thing we can kind of gather is this spot, just like many others, the wind seems to be fickle. Every time we come out here, the wind is always swirling. No matter where you're at, what side of the mountain, how steep it is, how thick it is, it seems like it's very, very tough to get a consistent wind direction. And the only thing we can figure is he must have came storming up the side here, and maybe he just caught some little eddy current of our scent and then just kind of vanished. He never made a peep. We could hear him, his hooves. That was the only reason we could ever even know he was really there. So that's our best guess. At this point, location bugles on the week have landed us 0 responses, despite us doing them, quite a bit every day. And cold calling sequences like this, where we get into an area that seems like it could be elky near what we hope to be bedding, and just making a lot of cow sounds or a lot of racket, start doing some bull sounds and stuff, that's called bulls in twice. So for anybody interested in, what's kind of been the best tactic so far for the week. But it's 3 o'clock now, so as high up as we are, it's about time actually to start heading down to get set up for our evening spot where we'll do another cold calling sequence. We worked our way down off the bridge that we were on, across the drainage. We're up on the other side, hoping to basically be able to cold call some elk through here. We imagine that there's bedding probably up above us, and maybe further deeper into the drainage. There's some good trails, droppings, sign around the area. So we tucked ourselves into a little tiny opening in this dark timber, with the hopes that once we start calling, hopefully something will pop up and get within range, which essentially will be in this little pocket of dark timber. So we just did our sequence for a little over an hour, and eventually just heard some coyotes, not terribly far away, but we're thinking with the amount of time that we called and how good this area seemed to be, that if there were elk around right here, we might have pulled something in. So with this little bit of daylight left, we're going to start heading back down toward the vehicle, because there's a lot of open meadow that we can kind of observe as we get down, and maybe there's a chance there could be a cow out in that meadow that Matt could get a shot at with his muzzleloader. So that's going to be pretty much the end of night 6.